Every once in a while, something is born that revolutionizes our way of life. It changes our way of thinking. It makes our world a better place. People dream of this day. Today will be that day. Will today be your day?
As our entry for the Nobel Peace Prize, we'll be making a Space Invaders style emoji game using only Flutter widgets. A timer will put emojis on the screen. You have to tap them to keep the number under the max limit. So let's get this piece of started. As always, delete all comments and set debug show check mode banner to false. Delete anything that has to do with the title. Delete the counter variable as well as the increment counter method. You can delete those texts as well as the floating action button too. Control Command S to hot reload and update the app. Back at the top, add systemchrome.set preferred orientations, pass in a list containing device orientation.portrait up. This will lock the app in portrait up mode. Head back down and change your scaffold body to a safe area, and set the scaffold's background color to colors.black. When you hot reload the app, you'll see that the text is no longer visible, so head back up to your theme data and add a text theme. Theme.ofContext.textTheme.apply with a body color of colors.white. Hot reload and the color should update. In your My Homepage state, add a boolean called started, set it to false. This will be set to true when the game is started. Now let's make our start screen. In your column, make your main axis size.max. Delete that text if you haven't already. Add the condition if started's false. It'll show a center with a child of a column, and the child of that column add an expanded with a flex of 0, with a text child of the title of the game. Set the style with a text style with a font size of 80, and a text align of textalign.center, and hot reload to update the app. Below your expanded, add a size box with the height of 50. And below your size box, add a raised button. The child of a text just says start. Add a color of colors.green. And an on pressed, leave it blank for now. Add some trailing commas and a semicolon to fix things up. And below your started boolean, add an int called count and set it to 0. Now let's make our game screen. In your column's main axis alignment, make a ternary so that if it's started, it'll be main axis alignment.center, otherwise it'll be main axis alignment.start. As a child of the column, make a condition that if started's true, it'll show an expanded with a child of a listview.builder. Set the listview.builder's scroll direction to axis.horizontal. Add an item count as 8. Add the item builder with context and index, and have it return a container. Set the container's width to mediaquery.ofContext.size.width divided by 8. This means that each container will be an eighth of the screen's width. As the container's child, make a column. As a child of the column, make an expanded, and as a child of that expanded, make another listview.builder. Set its physics to never scrollable scroll physics. That way it can't be scrolled. Set shrink wrap to true, and set item count to a count variable that doesn't exist yet. Set the item builder with context and index 1 to not be confused with the index of the first listview.builder, even though we won't be using it anyway, and have it return an emoji icon, which does not exist yet. So to explain this, we'll have a horizontal listview.builder. It contains 8 emojis, and then within that, we'll have a vertical listview.builder with more emojis. Now let's make our start game method. Head down to your start button and on press to have it call start game. Then go down and create start game, set it to void since it won't return anything. Have it set state call and have it have started set to true for now. Now let's make that emoji icon widget. Right click on the lib directory, create new file, name it emojiicon.dart. In emojiicon.dart, create a stateful widget, name it emoji icon. Be sure to import the material library as well. In your emoji icon state class, add a boolean called visible, set it to true. Create a double called screen height, create a double called container height, and create a double called emoji height. In your build method, set screen height to mediaQuery.ofContext.size.height, set container height to screen height divided by 15, and emoji height to screen height divided by 20. Change the container to a gesture detector with a child of an animated container. Set its duration to duration with milliseconds of 300. As its height, set a ternary, or if it's visible, it'll be container height, otherwise it'll be 0. As its child, make a center. As its child, make a text with empty quotes for now. Set its style as a text style, with its font size as a ternary, or if it's visible, it'll be emoji height, otherwise it'll be 0. Head to the site getemoji.com and copy your emoji, and then paste it in your text. Now add an on tap to your gesture detector. If visible, set state and set visible to false. And you can leave out the container height equals 0 statement here. The animated container will handle that for us. So when somebody taps an emoji, the animated container will shrink it down to 0. And head back to your main.dart file and import your emoji icon file. And I'm just going to add an exclamation point here because I want it to be centered if it's not started. And if you hit the start button, you'll see that the layout changes, but no emojis appear yet. Let's set up our score area now. Add another if started condition with an expanded with a flex of 0 and a child of a container. Set its width to mediaQuery.ofContext.size.width to fill the whole width of the screen. We'll give it a decoration with a box decoration with a top border with a border side color of colors.green. This will just add a green line between the emoji area and the score area. As a child of the container, add a column. Put its main axis alignment as main axis alignment.center. As a child, we're going to add a value listenable builder. Set its value listenable to null right now. Add its builder with a context value and a child. Have it return a text that says score and a style with a text style with a font size of 25. Now let's create some static variables that we can access from any class. Right click on lib, create a new file, name it scoredata.dart. Inside scoredata.dart, create a class called scoredata. Create a static value notifier of type int, call it score, and we'll set it as value notifier of 0. Create another static value notifier of type int, name it emoji count, and we'll set it as value notifier of 0. And be sure to import the material library for value notifier. And while we're here, we'll add 3 methods that we'll need. The first will be void add point and have it just score.value plus equals 10. The second will be void remove emoji and have it just do emoji count.value minus equals 1. And the last will be void reset values and have it set score.value equals 0 and emoji count.value equals 0. So our add point method will just add points whenever an emoji is tapped. Our remove emoji method will just remove 1 from the count of the emojis when an emoji is tapped. And reset values will just reset the score and the emoji count back to 0 when the new game is started. And we set score and emoji count to value notifier. That way the main.dart file can be updated whenever any of those counts change. Save everything, head back to main.dart, and change your score text to have it be scoredata.score.value. And be sure to import scoredata.dart. Change your value listenable to scoredata.score. Now whenever scoredata.score changes, this value listenable builder will automatically rebuild and show the most updated score. Let's make a couple more variables. Make an int called current time and set it to 1. And make an int called max and set it to 80. Current time will be used with our timer, and our max is the max number of emojis we allow on the screen before the game ends. Below our value listenable builder, add a text. Have it say new row coming in, and then our variable current time. Style it with a text style with a font size of 20. Create another text below it. Have it say game over in, and then our max minus the score data.emoji count.value. So this will display 80 our max minus the amount of emojis on the screen. And then below that, create a condition called if game over, which doesn't exist yet. Have it show a raised button with a child of a text that says restart. Set its color to colors.green, and then on press to our start game method. head back up and create that game over boolean and set it to false. Now we can finish our start game method, call score data and reset values. Within the set state block, set game over to false, and then score data .emoji count.value plus equals 8, and then count plus equals 1. So when somebody starts the game, the score data will be reset, game over will be false, started will be true, the score data .emoji count will be added with 8, and 1 will be added to count. Count is the number of emoji rows we have on screen used by our oneListView.builder. Now let's make our countdown timer. Add a timer called timer, import the Dart async library, create a new method called start timer, create a const interval, it's a const duration with seconds of 1. Set your timer to timer.periodic with interval and a t timer. Inside, create a set state call, set an if condition. If current time is greater than 0, then have current time subtract 1, else current time will equal 1. And then if scored data.emoji count.value plus 8 is greater than max, we'll call our endGame method, which doesn't exist yet, and then return. Otherwise, we'll call our add more method, which doesn't exist yet. So when our countdown timer reaches 0, it's going to reset it to 1. It's going to check that if another row will exceed 80, our max, then it will end the game. Otherwise, it'll add more. While we're making methods, let's make our stop timer method. Just set it as timer.cancel. Next, we'll make our add more method, set state, add score data.emoji count.value plus equals 8, and then count plus equals 1. Now our endgame method, have it call stop timer, set state, set game over to true, and then our count equals 0. Below that, call show alert dialog and pass in context, and we'll make that next. I just pasted in the show alert dialog. It'll say game over and it'll show our score. And if you click out of it or press the OK button, it'll be dismissed. And I'll just call start timer at the bottom of our start game method. Head back up to our list view builder and just make a condition that if game over, return text with empty quotes. So when the game ends, it'll essentially just turn to a black screen with the score. Now hot restart and then press the start button, and you'll see that our emojis are being added, our timer's working, and our game over count is working. If you tap on the emoji, you should see that it disappears and also that our animated container is working. You'll see we have an issue where our score is not increasing and also our game over count is not decreasing, but our alert dialog is working. To fix these issues, head back to emoji icon, and in our gesture detectors on tap set state, add score data.addPoint, and then score data.remove emoji. Initialize a final score data class and be sure to import score data.dart. Save it and our issues should be fixed. I want to tweak a couple different things, so head back to main.dart. In your game over in text, style it with a text style with a font size of 20, and we'll also wrap that in a value listenable builder. Set its value listenable to score data.emoji count, its builder with context value child, and then return your game over in text. This will update the game over in text every time an emoji is tapped. Hot restart, you'll see our game is now working. Now you can just sit back and wait for NASA to call.